Hi, it's Crystal Woodbridge, Nature Inspired Relationship Coach here. I'm just going to give a couple of minutes to see who's on the line. If you're on the line, say hello. If you have any comments or questions about relationships, I'd be more than happy to answer those. So here in the UK, it's a really lovely July early evening, and I've just walked past my local church and noticed I actually got drawn into the churchyard because there's some gorgeous trees in the churchyard. They're really old. They've obviously been here for hundreds of years, some of them. And as soon as I came in, I noticed that actually people have been decorating the trees. There's some sort of festival on today, so people have been putting these gorgeous decorations on the branches. So if you can see behind me now, they've kind of knitted some things and hung some pom-poms and things from the branches of this tree. And they've done it all over the churchyard, so it's absolutely gorgeous. I don't know if you can see those hanging off the boughs? Just lovely. And it got me thinking about relationships, because I often use trees as a metaphor for relationships. And I suppose my question would be, what would your relationship look like if it was more like a tree? If you're on the line, say hello. I'm just talking about trees. I'm just coming into my local churchyard and noticed there's a local kind of festival of some sort where people have put handmade crafts and knitted things on trees and hung pom-poms from the boughs, and it's just gorgeous. So yeah, I was drawn in because I just adore trees, and I always feel compelled to go and sit underneath them, and they always help me to feel really grounded and secure and safe, and they're a lovely place to reflect from. And actually, when there's a gorgeous tree canopy, I feel like I'm safe and protected somehow, and I can just be, and I can just take some time to reflect. And so yeah, I was thinking about what if your relationship was more like a tree? So what I mean by that is that trees, the reason I adore trees, especially the really old ones, especially oak trees, is because they've been there for such a long time. So they're very grounded. I mean, they're obviously, the roots go really deep into the ground and they're stable. So there's something really solid and dependable about these gorgeous oak trees that have been there for 500 years or more. There's just something so still and sure about them. They're obviously connected with the earth. The roots go out. Actually, I learned this about trees recently, that the roots don't necessarily go very, very deep underground, but they actually spread out really far to counteract the heavy weight of the canopy. So actually, roots won't necessarily go very deep along the ground, especially in built-up areas, I suppose, like this churchyard I'm in at the moment, where there's lots of houses and a church and everything built around it. But they might spread out a really long way along the ground. But nonetheless, these roots, they're always growing, they're always providing nutrients to the base of the tree, and then the tree is obviously producing this gorgeous canopy which changes with the seasons. So I was thinking about relationships and what is it that we can learn from trees to try and apply to our relationships. So I was thinking about the roots being the foundation of the relationship. So the roots obviously provide the stability, and then you have this trunk which is growing and it's living and there's life inside of it and there's a sap inside of it, and then you have these branches that reach out with these gorgeous tree leaves and the fruits, and it's the canopy that seems to change. So it's the external part of the tree that changes with the seasons. It might blossom, it might produce fruits, the leaves then start to fall off in the autumn and die, and then the leaves fall back into the ground and nourish the tree, which basically the roots of the tree actually derives nutrients from its own leaves once they've fallen. So what if your relationship was like that? What if you had a really solid foundation which is all built on trust and security? And if you have your relationship and you imagine the roots of your own relationship, what would the roots of your relationship be? So for me, I always think roots are very linked to stability, security, dependability, but they're always growing and always anchoring you. So if your relationship felt secure and anchored like a tree, and then you have the top of the tree which is always changing, and I think that's really key, because in relationships we grow all the time. We get, a tree gets bigger, it bears more fruit, it evolves, it responds to the climate, and that's exactly what we do in relationships. If you've been in a long-term relationship, you'll probably find that you're not the same people you were when you first got together. And lots of couples resist that and want things to be exactly how they were when they first got together, and that's often where conflict can come in and people can be disappointed. But what's really important in relationships to recognise is that just because you're growing and evolving and transforming, it doesn't mean you can't still maintain a secure base. Doesn't mean that that your relationship foundation is threatened. What it means is that if you embrace the change and accept that as a natural part of being human, as a natural part of being nature, just like a tree, you can actually enjoy that and you can actually grow with it. So it's really important to always communicate with your partner and just be really aware that things change, but you can be fluid with that, you can be adaptable. Because if a tree stopped growing, it would cease to be and it would just die and it wouldn't exist anymore. But allowed to flourish, it's beautiful, it can become even more established and it can bear more fruit and it can be more pleasurable for everybody to enjoy. It can provide, hi Jolene, it's lovely to see you. Just talking about trees and how much I love them and how they relate to relationships. But yeah, so it's just acknowledging that relationships transform and grow all the time. We're part of nature, we're not separate from nature in any way. So that if you can accept that and that you and your partner can be flexible with each other and flow together rather than fighting against each other when you start to feel threatened by that change, just remember you can also have these really strong roots that really anchor you to each other and actually form your secure base. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. If you found that helpful, come along to my website, which is www.crystalwoodbridge.com, and you can sign up for my newsletter, which is full of helpful information about relationships and advice. And you can also download my free e-course for couples, which is called the 4 Seasons Relationship Course, which actually shows you how to apply the principles of the 4 seasons of nature to your relationship. And that includes all about how to grow and change together. Jolene, late to the party, she'll watch it back after. We adore trees. There's more underneath than there is showing. Yeah, Jolene, that's really important. So I was talking about the root system, how they go on for miles in some cases, but you can't necessarily see that when you're looking at a tree, but you can appreciate the beauty of what you can see, which is always changing, but the roots are what anchors it and they're always there to support the tree. So yes, if you found that helpful, so come along to my website. You can sign up for my newsletter, as I was saying. You can sign up for my 4 Seasons Relationship Course, which shows you how to grow and transform within your relationship through connecting with nature. And I just want to show you before I go, just as Jolene, I don't know, you probably missed the beginning, but there seems to be this tree festival in the churchyard. So people are hanging these pom-poms from the boughs of the trees, which are really gorgeous. And then if you see the trunk of the tree behind me, it's got some sort of decorative material or knitted cloth around it. And there's a couple of other trees just like it, so it's lovely. So yeah, that's what I wanted to share with you this afternoon. And so come along to my website, www.crystalwoodbridge.com. That's Krystal woodbridge.com, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Take care for now. Bye.